So as usual, we're going to have public comment at the beginning of the meeting. This public comment will be for matters other than Lakeshore Canine, which will be later on the agenda. So, basic village matters. 10 minutes is what we have, 3 minutes per person maximum. And obviously everyone is able to email the village board or the trustees if there's additional comment. So for you that are attending because of Lakeshore Canine, which is the planned unit development that is on the agenda, those comments will not be made during the public comment section, but we're going to allow time for public comment during that item on the agenda. So we'll do it that way. And I'll provide, better instructions as we go along, but be mindful that this is not a public hearing tonight. There's been multiple public hearings with the Plan Commission, Board of Appeals, et cetera. So as we get to the Lakeshore Canine portion of the meeting, I'll explain how that's all going to work. I'll also note that there's other stuff we have to get done tonight too. So we're going to try to figure it all out and get it done. So that's kind of the instructions to kick this whole thing off. Hopefully that made sense. So moving from there, we have items on the agenda, homeowners associations. We, I believe, have 3 that were invited. I don't know that all 3 are here, but there's White Oak Estates, Enrique De La Sera. Enrique, I think you just walked in. There you go. Do you have public comment for us? Or not public comment. Do you have anything you want to share from an HOA perspective?
We have a couple of questions. We'll wait until is that the right time to do that now?
Is it regarding the Lakeshore Canine?
No, these are different questions.
Okay, so why don't you take the podium and bring those before the board?
With one of our board members, and she'll present. Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Okay,
Is that
so
microphone on?
can you hear me?
Yeah.
We have a couple questions. We have not been able to attend the last 2 years, so we're kind of like catching up. So we're considering putting speed bumps on our roads. Are there any concerns with the village with doing that with police, fire?
I can tell you, I have them in our subdivision, and you have a private roads. You're able to do that. There's been no complaints from the police or fire as long as they're done correctly.
Okay. Okay, perfect. And then we wanted to see if the village has any history on the speed limits in the private roads. Ours is 10 miles, I think, per hour, right? Yeah.
Well, I think that's a legal question, right? If it's below 25, I don't think you can enforce it. I know our subdivision is posted at 20. So, but again, if you wanted to have it enforced, you would have to have an intergovernmental agreement with the sheriff police to have them ticket, right? Otherwise, it's a private road.
Okay.
And they have no way to enforce your speed limits.
Okay, good to know. All right. Any pathways planned for that link White Oak Estates to the other pathways that are? I know there's been discussions about pathways. Anything linking White Oak Estates?
You want to take a crack at what we're trying to do when Route 22 gets widened?
Yeah, so Route 22, as it's widened, is going to have a pathway as part of that.
Okay.
Over through it, and a traffic signal at Kruger in 22. So our grand plan for the pathways is to have it run along 83 north through 22, which would tie into that pathway that's being built, and then continue along 83 north to Diamond Lake Road, run that up was that Gilmer to Diamond Lake up north and then down Indian Creek. So that would cover.
So how does it get through to Diamond Lake? Oh wait, through Kruger then, or through 83?
No, it would go on Gilmer. So it would go
Gilmer.
west on Gilmer up to Diamond.
Okay, all right. Okay. Do we know of any development plans proposed for the farmland that's adjacent to White Oak Estates? The one that sits at the corner of 22 and Old McHenry? Anything that's been kind of in the works or proposed?
No, there's been
Okay.
nothing.
Any plans to patch the big pothole that's at the corner of 22 and North Kruger? I know we're waiting for that expansion of 22, but,
I hit that the other day, just for the record.
well, I think there's been like several accidents in the last month. I don't know if
Yeah.
there's record of that or something.
Is that something we can just do or state, will the state do it?
We ask the state all the time to do it. We can look at and see if ELA can. Have we had ELA do that before, Jeff?
It's big, it's deep, but it's not super wide. I mean, somebody could.
Do we have a record of how many accidents in the last, I mean, because I've been told we have one of our residents that their teenager got in an accident. So, and it's happening. So if there's a
Yep.
way to. Okay, and then there was a request for better communication from the village to go through the HOAs. This specifically came from a mom who has young kids and she's really busy with her kids in school. And she said, is there a way to kind of make things a little more fluid to make sure that maybe she's not catching the emails, she's not catching the posts, and if we can go through the HOAs for your emails rather than expecting residents to kind of log on. I know that there is a website redesign and you guys are talking about, so some kind of thought about communicating better to residents, especially the ones who have young children. That was a comment. And what's the village's plan for an updated comprehensive plan? It looks like it's been, traditionally it's done every 10 years or so. And the one that was done in 2018, there was stakeholder interviews done in 2016. So is there a plan currently? I know I saw something about the village or
Yeah,
the,
so,
downtown.
yeah, let me answer your question. There's no plan to update the comprehensive plan right now. It's pretty recent, but what we do want to do is update the downtown plan for the downtown master plan. So that's what's on the docket tonight, not the whole village, but the downtown master plan.
okay, so there's no current plan for the.
Not at the moment, right?
So any plans for like post office, UPS, FedEx facility in Long Grove? PO boxes, something convenient rather than going to Lake Zurich or Buffalo Grove?
No idea. I mean, the post office, we don't have one here. We don't have a department store that, I think doesn't Kohl's have drop off places like that or boxes, et cetera.
I think it was more for just post office. There was a
Yeah.
question.
No plans for us here unless the post office wants to do that,
Okay. Final question. Something about caterpillars. One of the residents said that I guess there's an outbreak that's affecting hydrangeas and she didn't know where to ask for those type of questions. So is there a resource in the village outside of contacting Lake County for?
Is anybody from the Scenic Corridor Committee here by any chance?
She can call the Botanic Garden and get all kinds of information.
So no in-town resource.
Well, I mean, the Scenic Corridor Conservancy Commission might be a resource to go to, right? So. Is your microphone on?
The Scenic Corridor Committee could probably answer some of those questions or give that resident the resources they need to better help them with whatever the question is for their plants.
Okay. All right. That was all my questions.
Thank you. Thanks for being here to represent your HOA. I know there's plenty of other people that are here to represent it too, for a different matter though. All right, so Fields of Long Grove. There you are. Oh, there. Greg, okay, thank you.
Good evening. Couple things on our mind at the Fields of Long Grove. To get farther away.
I need it because nobody can hear you online. Nobody can hear you online without the microphone, so you got to turn it on.
Maybe it's my phone. Maybe that's too close. Okay, so Fields of Long Grove, we have three kind of big projects that we're working on. Mayor Jacobs, I think we've talked to you about one of them. we maintain our own roads, we maintain our own kind of closed loop water system and our own sanitation system. Our roads are fine. We just did an application of Reclamite last fall. Hopefully that's going to extend the life of the roads for 5 to 7 years. We're in good shape there. Our water and our sanitation infrastructure is coming up on 40 years old. We are probably well past or somewhat past the useful life of the infrastructure. So we're working on where we go with this. Our question for the village, a couple things. Number one, is there anyone on the village who can work with us to help us figure out how to engineer a solution? We certainly would be open to any recommendations there. An engineering firm, anyone with any experience in the village who could join our little study group, number one. Number two, we're aware that there is funding available from the state of Illinois for systems like ours, low interest rate funding. And we're wondering if there's anyone in the village administration who has any experience applying for those funds and you know, giving us any advice on how to do that successfully.
Okay, so let me just make sure I understand it, because I met with you. So you have the septic field that serves all of the homes. And then there was also a water question and connecting to public water, right? So is that about both or?
It's about both. Yeah.
Okay.
The infrastructure for both is about 40 years old. So we've kind of had some conversations about connecting to the municipal systems, and based on our research, we don't think that's likely going to happen anytime soon, or if it does, it would be cost prohibitive for us to fund that privately. So we're looking at how do we manage our current infrastructure, manage and pay for, you know, a replacement that will take us, you know, 20, 30 years into the future.
All right, so not connect to public sewer, just no.
Unless you have other thoughts on that, our research suggests that that's not going to be a possibility for us.
Expensive. Yeah, okay. So I'll ask Jeff, village engineer Perry, thoughts on how to help.
Yeah, I know, Greg, you and I or someone from your HOA have traded emails and conversations about it.
Yeah.
Several times, probably how you got to the conclusion of the sanitary sewer. The water is the more difficult one because there's not a good water source, you know, in close vicinity of your subdivision. I'm happy to chat about it a little bit more offline. I know that you're probably referring to the Illinois State Revolving Fund for loans. Those are low interest loans, highly competitive. I don't want to scare you away from it, but it's a very lengthy process and it's highly competitive. So I can talk more about that with you as well. But I know the state looks for, you know, those bigger projects, but we can also talk about how to perhaps leverage that for your subdivision as well.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for what you do. Thanks for being here. So Jeff, will you follow up afterwards? Okay, thank you. Highland Pines, I think Greg was traveling, but is there anyone else here from Highland Pines? I think it was Nikhil Shamir. If not, okay, then I'll keep us moving. Public comment. Benjamin Matthews.
My name is Benjamin Matthew from 4369 Oakleaf Lane and the Oakleaf Homeowners Association. I just have two comments. The first thing is on the agenda. I believe that the village engineers' reports are very important, and they have a lot of issues that are relevant to residents. So I would suggest to the village that they release the village engineers' report as a packet ahead of time, so that way residents can view it, or on the agenda have more specifics broken down to that. Secondly, I noticed I live along Illinois 22, and during the tree removal operation, a bunch of road signs were damaged, including the one on Stonehaven in 22. And I understand it's probably the state has to pay for it, but in the meantime, certain roads are not marked, which I feel is dangerous. And finally, I'm wondering if there's been any updates on the special use application for 4359 Illinois Route 22. Thank you.
Chris, can I let you address all three?
Yeah, I'll go backwards. No updates on 4359. The signs, we've been in contact with IDOT, and we've also been in contact with Ela Township to see if IDOT's unwilling to do it in a timely manner. We'll get new signs printed and put them up ourselves, even though it's not our responsibility, but to get it done in a timely manner, that's what we'll do. And what was the
Village engineers report?
village?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Are you?
I was just looking to see if we
Are you
had
publishing
it on there. Yeah,
It's not
we
on
should
there?
be.
I thought we were putting that
Yeah,
up.
we
publicly.
have it.
It's there. Are you saying you want it sooner or?
Like that, have like his packet available to the public before the meeting.
Is it there or not?
Yeah.
Oh, it should be up
It's at the
there.
very
Yeah.
end.
Oh, but I mean, it's listed as an agenda item, but not as actual.
Looks like the report's there.
Was it? Okay.
Can you look just to make sure? Because we started putting that stuff back.
This is on the website.
Sorry,
This is on our website.
on the website. Yeah, we started putting that stuff back.
Oh.
So. Okay. Other public comment? Thanks.
I need a little stepping stone here. Hi, good evening, President Jacob. My name is Vanessa Michels, and I am here tonight with my husband, David Michels. We live on Eleanor White Oak Estates. As residents who deeply value the long-term stability.
Oh, can I, not to cut you off, is this regarding the Lakeshore Canine?
No,
Can I ask you?
not.
It's not. Okay, got it. All right.
As residents who value the character and uniqueness of Long Grove and our subdivision, we are here tonight to submit 2 policy questions regarding administrative governance. Specifically, we're looking at the regulatory boundaries between the village, the consulting engineers, the homeowners associations regarding stormwater, drainage, and surface runoff management. Our first question is regarding the village site modification checklist, which appropriately prompts applicants to ensure compliance and private subdivision restrictions. However, from an administrative policy standpoint, how does the village handle scenarios where the private HOA indicates independent drainage reviews, telling residents they completely defer all drainage and runoff oversight to the village permit desk? When a HOA board members offloads the core drainage infrastructure oversights into the village engineering staff in direct contradiction to the private maintenance mandated by the Title VI of Village Code, does the village have formal mechanism to compel that HOA to perform its own due diligence? Or does the village permit desk inadvertently expect the ultimate regulatory and downstream civil liability for those drainage decisions? Our second question is regarding the village scope of services and risk boundaries for our third-party municipal engineering consultants regarding stormwater management within subdivisions. From a risk management perspective, is it a formal policy of the village that an engineering consultant role act as an informal designer, mediator, and facilitator, compromises and negotiate drainage solution between private owners? Or does it mandate strictly regulatory meaning of their sole authority to the objective audit formal submittals against current village codes? The Lake County Watershed Development Ordinance and strictly reject any proposal that fails to meet those baseline requirements, as well as the guidelines set forth in the HOA own civil engineering report regarding low slope drainage solutions within the subdivision. Furthermore, does the Title VI permit the municipal engineering consultant an informal authorized modification to a recorded subdivision master regarding plan without formal engineering submittals and a certified review? We have already shared the HOA civil engineering report with the village engineer to make sure the village has it on file. If the board is not prepared to answer these structural policy questions today, we completely understand. We would be happy to meet with Chris to discuss these concerns further in person and at his earliest convenience. We respect and ask that these questions be included in the official meeting minutes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So, Chris, you're probably closest to this, or Jeff is. Want to take a crack at some initial feedback, or otherwise we can table it and take the questions and respond later. So,
Yeah, this is, has to do with a drainage improvement project between the Mitchell's property and their neighbor, the Pasquazis. There's been quite a bit of correspondence on the matter. And I would suggest we take up David and Vanessa on their offer to take this offline and meet with Manager Sparkman and myself to go over the individual questions separately.
okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for that. Any other public comment? All right, thank you. We'll keep ourselves moving here. Public safety reports? No, none from Tom. Okay, so we have a consent agenda before us, and there are several items on it. The first one is the April 2026 Treasurer's Report. The next one is the executive session minutes from the April 14th, 2026 meeting. Chris provided a paper copy for everyone tonight. Then we have the regular village board meeting minutes from May 13th or May 12th, 2026. Plus, there's two resolutions granting buffer relief for the Conservancy, one of them at 4737 Wellington Drive and another one at 5351 Woodview Court. They're detailed in the board packet with pictures and drawings. So those are the items on the consent agenda. Is everyone okay with these items? Does anyone want anything removed, or does somebody want to make a motion to approve?
I'd like to remove the buffer yard discussion, both 4 and 5.
Okay. You want to make a motion to approve minus those two items?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. I will.
Second. Okay, moved by trustee Browski, seconded by trustee Harris. And that's for items 1, 2, and 3. Where they remove the resolution for the Conservancy buffer yards, the one at Wellington and the other one at Woodview Court. Roll call.
All right, trustee Borowski, move to approve the consent agenda, minus items 4 and 5. A roll call. Trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee Harris,
Aye.
trustee Gayton,
Aye.
trustee O'Connor,
Aye.
trustee Tanucci.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. I guess then we'll move to, let's go one at a time. The resolution conserving buffer yard relief for the 4737 Wellington Drive. Discussion, anyone? Go ahead.
Yes.
You asked for it to remove them, obviously.
Yeah, I did ask to remove it. I just want to clarify if the photos that we have in the packet and if they make sense or not to me. Maybe they don't, but there is a photo showing the backyard, and there's some yellow lines drawn on that photo indicating Conservancy easement. And I was just wondering if my understanding of Conservancy easement is correct and if those photos are correct. It seems to me that there's a stake and yellow lines drawn on that photo, the corner of which, clearly denotes Conservancy easement. Is that truly current Conservancy easement that is grass and mowed? Or am I
It's a buffer to the easement.
So that's a buffer to the actual easement?
Yes, to the
So
easement.
there's 20 feet from that stake to the easement itself, to the Conservancy area itself.
That's my understanding. These are buffers to the easement itself. And these are odd lots. This is Royal Melbourne with odd lots. So they're weird shapes on a few spots. This is another one. So they really can't do a whole lot with their yard.
Well, I understand that. So, okay, I understand. So that area is basically lawn, and then the Conservancy area is still 20 feet away from that stake and line that are
Yeah,
delineated on that photo.
yes.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. That was really my only question.
And what about the other one?
No, I really didn't have any particular issue with the other one. I was just trying to understand which one was which, and I think I understand that. The first one is whatever the address was, number 4, item number 4.
Yeah, so do you want to make a motion to approve buffer relief for conservancy at 4737 Wellington Drive, as well as buffer relief for conservancy at 5351 Woodview Court?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll make that motion.
Okay, moved by trustee Browski, seconded by trustee O'Connor. I think that's roll call too, right? Roll call?
Trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Gaten.
Aye.
Trustee Harris.
Aye. Aye. All right, motion carried. Thank you. Other business. This one is the downtown, updating the downtown master plan. So we have Bill James here from Camaros. And I think you're going to maybe give us a brief oral presentation. Okay. You got to go to the microphone.
Very pleased to be here tonight. Very pleased to have the village manager's endorsement to update your downtown plan. So we prepared this proposal dated February 27th. I'm not sure if you received a copy of this, but it details our approach to updating the comprehensive plan and scope of services, our fees, discussion of the schedule to do this. I'm here to answer any questions. I will just say that we recognize that downtown Long Grove is a very special, iconic, unique place. Our approach will be to really align our work to the sensibilities of the folks here in Long Grove. Downtown Long Grove is a very successful place as it is. We think it has the potential to be even better in the future, and we will look for creative ideas for improving the downtown without disrupting it, without compromising its authenticity. And we think there's a lot of good material to discuss and consider. Ultimately, it'll be the village's decision on the plan and the proposals for the plan. A part of our approach also is to make the plan actionable, not just a bunch of abstract ideas. So we will include an action agenda, we'll include feasibility assessments in terms of what can actually happen in terms of improving the downtown, making improvements, those kinds of things. So really want it to be something that will be kind of a legacy plan and be something that guides the future of the downtown for years to come.
Yeah, so our downtown master plan was originally developed 18 years ago. And it was during the height of the 2008 recession. So it still is a foundational document. In fact, it is referenced in the comprehensive plan, Christina, that you talked about. And that was published 8 years ago. The comprehensive plan was published 8 years ago. So despite all the economic challenges that have occurred, some of the recommendations were putting public sidewalks in, streetlights, streetscape. And then we're starting to see the private investment in the downtown, which is good. It's turned the corner. And so I think that this is something that we should consider refreshing it to provide future direction for developers to come. And, looking maybe perhaps even at more denser residential. We're known for large lot size homes, but if there's a place to consider it, maybe it's in the downtown with some kind of mixed use. And it was contemplated in the comprehensive plan too. They contemplated it. So by, having a consultant come in and help us with this, they can put it all together and help the dialogue for us to kind of shape what the future of our downtown can be. A lot of that downtown is our brand, something that's important to us. And now might be a great time to do it with, a lot of the investment that's coming back, into the downtown, and maybe we can take it to the next level. So I don't know what questions the board has. Please speak up, I guess, but I wanted to share my thoughts of, why I'm interested in doing this. So
Want me to start?
you're looking at me. Maybe this is like our cue, right?
Uh-huh.
Trustee O'Connor, thoughts?
I find I have a ton of questions and we have a big agenda tonight and I'm not gonna bore you to death with it, but the sense that I get when I read the contract is that you know this 100 times better than I do, the contract. And I'm wondering a lot of things, but as far as the contract goes, where do most towns run off the rails with expenses? Where does it go off the rails?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure about running off the rails, but one of the things that you'll hear frequently is, all the plan just goes on the shelf and you forget about it. And I think it sounds like you're not that kind of community. Okay, the plans you make, you actively seek to implement them, and that's the kind of plan that we would make here. I think a potential pitfall is to fill it full of kind of abstract concepts that can't really, come to fruition. And so that would be one pitfall I think, we would try to help you avoid. A lot of times people put things in the plans, the grandiose development, proposals that can never happen because they don't align with the market. You don't really have sites that are suitable for that kind of development. Like transit-oriented development is a great example of this. Now, you're not a TOD location, but I've seen a ton of TOD plans that envision all this dense development that just is not, a reality for the market.
And I think more specifically, I'm wondering about the process of plan beginning to
Can we move
plan.
that up closer to you? Microphone? It'll get really loud. Sorry to interrupt.
From the beginning of the contract time to the, whatever the terminus is, where financially do towns get bogged down? And I'm talking about the process. I understand what you're saying, and that is part of the process, but there seems to be, there are X number of times that you will meet with staff. There are X number of times that you meet with ABC or XYZ. Yeah. What's the?
Yeah, I think one pitfall would be not moving in a straight line. But it's always best to work in a straight line with the planning process. If you have to circle back and revisit things because they weren't thoroughly talked about or you didn't get all the input that you needed, that was be a potential pitfall. So I think the process that we have, we rely on a task force of stakeholders that is appointed by village leadership to be the sounding board for ideas. We also go out to the community for a couple of community-wide meetings to get input on ideas and proposals. And that way it kind of is a way for the task force to get broad-based input from the public. If we're proposing something that would change the downtown in a way that people might be sensitive to, we're going to go out and get that input from the citizenry. So that would be another thing that I think we should be aware of, that we want to get all the input we need to be able to make sound decisions.
Okay, so that team is to envision or resonate the purpose of this endeavor. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And is it comprised of specialists, architects, land planners?
Well, it would be people from the village who have an understanding of topics related to downtown planning and, people who are knowledgeable about development, about market conditions, about aesthetics, okay, design. So those are the types of people you want on your task force.
Um, it seems, I generally, in general,
And elected leaders, I think there should be a couple of elected leaders on the task force as well.
say that again.
A couple of elected officials on the task force as well.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm concerned also, this is the last one I'll verbalize. It's not the last one, but the last one I'll verbalize is the downtown gets a lot of emphasis in Long Grove.
Uh-huh.
And in reality, we're more than the downtown.
Right.
There's the bridge and there's branding. I get that part. Yeah, we've got Sunset Foods. We've got commercial up on Route 83. We've got Route 22 and where Sorel is. Everybody knows where Sorel is now. And it seems like the downtown gets all the focus and the periphery remains the same. Is there any, how do you handle that kind of a situation?
Well, it's not my purview to talk about the emphasis on the downtown area. Okay. I can understand why it's a point of emphasis because it kind of holds the brand together for the whole village. Long Grove is a lot more than just the downtown. I understand that. And I certainly witnessed the HOA reports from the various communities within Long Grove. And I know that it's a collection of different residential areas as well as other commercial areas. But I think that the downtown is important. And when people mention Long Grove out in the region, it just automatically conjures up the image of the downtown. And so I think it is important to everyone in Long Grove how the downtown functions, the success of the downtown. It does something that radiates throughout the whole village, I believe.
And this is my last question, I promise. Of the towns you've worked with, can you name the top 2 or 3 that you are most proud of?
Of the towns I've worked with, okay. There's a lot of towns, okay. So, we did this a strategic plan for downtown Joliet that I'm very proud of. I was able to kind of distill it into 7 agenda items, and I met with the elected officials one-on-one, asked them if they endorse each and every one of the agenda items, if they would vote to fund each and every one of the agenda items. And every elected official said yes, they agree with the agenda, action agenda with each agenda item, and they would vote to fund it. So that's kind of a big victory if you can do that within a planning process. I'm very partial to a plan we did for downtown Ticonderoga, New York. Very historic, very iconic, kind of has a very distinctive character, much like Long Grove, and to do a plan that reinforces the authenticity of that community, the heritage of that community. It received a $10 million grant from the state of New York to do downtown projects. So part of our plan was to actually help the local folks decide how to use that $10 million. And so that was very impactful and something we're proud of.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? I'll just start going down the aisle there. Dave.
Well, I kind of agree exactly that the downtown is a big signature piece. Like it or not, that is what people know us for. They know us for the bridge, whether we like it or not. When every time it gets hit, it's going to be in the news. This is downtown Long Grove is, it's very iconic. It's very different and special. With that being said, we had a budget meeting. We put this in the budget, and I think then it goes back to the staff to implement what we, kind of give them direction to. And I think this is just following up with this. So I'm all for moving forward to approving this tonight.
Thank you. Adam?
I agree with Dave. Downtown is extremely important to most residents. I believe that, like me, a lot of residents feel that although downtown is great, there's a lot of untapped potential. And I think that an updated roadmap at this point certainly makes sense.
Thank you. Ken?
I have no comments or questions at this time.
All right, thank you. Chris?
Thank you for your information. How do you measure success?
That is a great question. I think that's something that should be on the forefront of our minds as we proceed into this process. I think success can be measured in a number of different ways. So I think satisfaction among the residents of Long Grove with the downtown is one measure of success. Okay, how satisfied are people with this as a place, as the iconic place in the village? I think another way to measure it is in terms of business activity. If you have declining business activity, something is not going well. So I think business activity, sales tax receipts, property values, those are all measures of success. I think also in measures of success would be measured by the appearance of the downtown, the character of the downtown, that we're not doing anything that would jeopardize the character and the heritage of the downtown, and that if we can improve upon it, we definitely should. So those are three measures of success I would say are valid.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Interesting to me that you actually mentioned the residents, which to me are paramount importance. How do you engage the greater population and the residents of Long Grove into this process? How do you pull the people who live on the north side of town into this?
Yeah. Well, one of the things we're going to do is rely on our task force and village staff to help us with that. How do we reach people? It's one thing to reach people. It's most important to actually talk to people, to get people to come out, to give you their thoughts, their opinions. We like holding larger community meetings, like in a room like this, and we have this online capability called Mentimeter, where we can actually. Have you worked with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm a 63-year-old guy who doesn't want to turn his phone on anymore.
Okay.
I don't want to do a Mento.
Okay.
I don't care. How do you engage with the aging population of Long Grove?
Well, I think, again, talking to people, there's no substitute for talking to people. You can send out questionnaires. I mean, you get the richest input through interpersonal dialogue, okay? A piece of paper that you check off boxes, people will only put so much energy and emotion into that. But when you actually talk about what should we do with this, we have property available for development on Archer Drive. Okay, what kind of uses should we put there? What kind of development should we put there? We'll talk about the fire station. There's been talks if that should move to a different location. We use that for more downtown oriented use. Do people like that idea? What kind of use should go there? What should new buildings look like? So different pictures of what things could look like and get responses to that. And we always like to quantify the responses that we get. So we can say, we talked to 50 people or we talked to 100 people, and there was a consensus in favor of this or this or this. So that's how we like to engage.
Your quotation number is 119,000 or something like that.
117.
Okay.
650.
Does that exclude the Chicago Bears moving to Arlington Heights, and how does that impact your study?
We didn't specifically include it. I don't know that it has a definite benefit. Would people come up to a Bears game in Arlington Heights? It could be 5 years from now if the stadium gets built. And would they then come to Long Grove after the game or something like that? We did actually, interesting you bring this up, we did a college town plan for Notre Dame University. And one of the reasons why the university wanted this was because after the football game, there's no place for people to go. And so they wanted a mixed use district on the edge of campus for that very purpose, okay? Obviously, it's for more than just after football games, but yeah, I think to the degree that we can, and the more visitors we get to downtown Long Grove, I think the better. And should we, I mean, it's really hard to calibrate or make a plan for something that is, not definitive. Do we really go all out and plan for that to happen, or do we have it in the back of our minds? Do we look at ways to potentially expand something if we get that kind of traffic? So I guess my answer to you is yes, we will consider that. I don't know how much we can rely on it. I don't know how we project what kind of traffic we may get from that kind of event. But we'll certainly talk about it.
So in the case of an event happening, let's say the Bears or somebody fills that space with an event venue, what does your firm bring to the table in terms of coming back to the board and making recommendations on what the village should do to accept that scenario? Because whether the Bears go there, it's vacant land right now and something's going to go there. So how do we, what does your firm bring to the table in terms of suggestions, track record, proven ideas, creativity, anything like that that comes to that adds value? Because you asking me what I think should go into downtown Long Grove, you could have asked me 35 years ago and the answer would have been about the same, you know? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we need something fresh and new.
We are going to bring ideas. Okay. And I think it's important to, this is our opportunity to explore new ideas. Okay. We don't want to have a discussion on things that are unworkable, don't fit with Long Grove, can't actually be implemented, but we want to explore the full range of ideas for things that actually could happen that are synergistic with Long Grove. Like Bill's president mentioned, what about residential? And in our proposal, we talk about should we potentially move downtown Long Grove from what's really a country crossroads, you have an intersection and stuff around the intersection, to more of a country hamlet that has more dimensions, more complexity. It has residential. It may have a park. We you could do something like a river walk along Buffalo Creek, a whole bunch of ideas for making the downtown experience fuller, richer, and actually support a small little residential enclave in the downtown. So you will get that from us. You will get a lot of creativity from us. And we have experience with working with attractions and understanding scales of different attractions and how they can affect peripheral locations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So a question to the board then. Do we want to go ahead? I mean, we need to go ahead in some form or fashion, but do we go ahead without considering the potential of Chicago Bears or not? I mean, it's a big impact, right?
Well, I bet you if the Bears knew that we were considering them in Arlington Heights, it would be Arlington Heights for sure.
We
got to tell them that. We got to get this broadcast.
You know what I'm
so they
saying?
know.
All right, I'm done. Thank you.
I'm serious about that, Chris. So I didn't mean to upset you.
Well, actually, it's too cold over here. I can't sit there. I'm freezing.
You're freezing. Sorry about that. I was trying to make.
It's like a wind chill over here.
Could somebody turn that down?
Joe. That one over there.
All right, got it. All right, so as I understand, and Chris, you can talk a little bit more about it. So we approved the proposal tonight. We have the ability to shape it a little bit more too, and design it a little bit for more what we want, right? So it's not we sign up for it and we have some flexibility to get what we want. If we want to add a dimension to it for the Bears, I'm sure we can as a dimension to it.
I haven't really been following the story much. Do we have any timeline when a decision is expected, or
could
be any time?
It's kind of the deadline for the General Assembly. So we're talking about 4 more days.
Yeah.
3 more.
Potentially, by the time we begin this study, we might know whether the Bears are going to Arlington Heights or not.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then we.
We'll know if the state has. But I guess you're, I'm sorry. You're also looking at Long Grove, like for branding purposes, that we are already a destination,
Oh,
correct?
absolutely. I mean,
And that's part of what the branding is.
you're very much so a destination. I think if you look at the businesses that you have here, you would never have some of these businesses in a typical downtown. Okay, that is reliant only on the purchasing power within that downtown. So you draw from a very wide area, and so you're already a regional destination. I think with respect to the Chicago Bears, you'd be looking at, well, what additional increment of visitation might we expect from the Chicago Bears?
If I might note, as I mentioned, the General Assembly's clock is ticking, and by the end of this week, they'll either have passed or not passed some kind of incentive. If they have passed something favorably, the resolution does provide that the final contract with Camaros would be subject to the final approval of the village manager. So you can have direction to him to make sure that there is some factor of the Arlington Heights complex as part of that final contract. And that would allow you to act tonight, get the process moving, and to make appropriate adjustments if we find that the General Assembly has acted in a way that would potentially bring the Bears or keep the Bears in Illinois.
Good.
All right, well, is there enough support for a motion to approve?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Moved by trustee Tanucci and seconded by trustee Harris. Okay, roll call. And that's to spend $117,650 for the maximum, right, for the consulting engagement.
Trustee Tanucci,
Aye.
trustee Harris,
Aye.
trustee Borowski,
Aye. Aye.
O'Connor.
Hi.
Okay, motion carried. Is it warming up over there, Chris?
It is
It's plenty hot, Bill.
He's not going to be talking to me anymore after this meeting. Oh, well. Thank you. All right. So this next thing is the moment a lot of people have been waiting for here tonight. This is the ordinance for the final approval of the planned unit development for the Canine Enrichment Center. As I mentioned, at the start of the meeting, we'll allow for some public comments on the Lakeshore Canine application and planned unit development. But this is not a public hearing. The PCZBA did conduct the public hearing on the application, having multiple sessions, and the village board has been made aware of those comments of those hearings. We also received George Mullical. We received the Trinity Noise Study and report, the CVS valuation report, and other things. So I know the comment will need to be made. I don't know if necessarily all that will have to be repeated, but I think I saw some of it in the presentation that was provided. But, maybe somebody, George, if that's you designated as the speaker, that would be great. It's the 10-minute-ish range, 3-minute maximum, but if one person's going to represent you all, then you can probably use all of that time. So for the purposes of organizing what's going to happen in the next however many minutes it is, as I understand it, Lakeshore Canine, Jordan and Aaron, you have a presentation for us, right, that you're going to give to the board. Is that correct? No?
We can provide a summary and answer any questions.
Okay, so there won't be a presentation. So then maybe a summary. I don't know if Vicky, you want to do that or not. And, but then we'll provide the time for the public comment after that summary. And then following that, we're going to bring the discussion of the application back to the village board, along with any actions that might result out of it. Please note, final action may or may not be taken tonight, depending on the outcome. But I'm going to turn it over then immediately to our village attorney.
I don't want to make a summary of their presentation. I'll let Mr. Shapiro do that, but I think it's important that we set the context of what's under consideration tonight, and that is the application for a final plan unit development approval for the Canine Enrichment Center at the location just north of 22 on Old McHenry Road. This received a special use permit preliminary PUD approval in July of last year. That was ordinance number 2511. And under our code, the preliminary PUD is where the entitlement vests for the use. There are requirements that when they come forward with a final PUD, it has to be in substantial accord with the preliminary PUD. And in this case, the preliminary PUD ordinance also included specific conditions that were to be addressed as part of any final PUD. And those conditions specifically related to the ability of the property to be served with water and sewage disposal. The traffic issue, which is a requirement that the Lake County Department of Transportation is actually in charge of. And then finally, there was a concern about addressing the potential impacts of noise and their undue impacts to the adjoining properties. So this was before the Plan Commission. It undertook a number of public hearings on this. And following the public hearing, the Plan Commission did find that the plans for final PUD were in substantial conformity with the preliminary PUD. And that the conditions were met. The Plan Commission did include some specific conditions additionally as part of the ordinance, which is part of the draft that's part of your packet. So both from an ordinance perspective and an historical one, tonight's focus is a pretty focused consideration of whether you believe the final PUD aligns with the preliminary PUD plan, and whether the conditions that were addressed at the preliminary plat stage have been adequately addressed at this time. I can answer any questions you have either now or as we go through, but that's the stage that we're on tonight. And perhaps if the applicant wants to give a summary, and then we can have the communications from any of the other members of the public.
Once again, my name is Dan Shapiro. Thank you for having us back. We've been here a couple of times along the way. So that was a terrific summary. I would like to add a little bit about the history of this project and then address some of the conditions that Attorney Filippini mentioned. And I also want to thank the PCCBA for, under some difficult circumstances, conducted a hearing, closed the public hearing, and then made their recommendation. So this is an 8.35 acre piece of property. As many of you know, it's the old Jay's Day Camp. It is now dilapidated. It is now in disrepair, and it's not serving anyone well. The opportunity before this board is to consider and hopefully approve a final PUD to activate this property, to make it an ongoing canine enrichment center and develop it. Something that will be useful for the community, something that will be useful for the patrons that will go there, and will also certainly make this property a lot more attractive than it is now. Back in June of 25, the PCCBA unanimously approved the preliminary PUD and special use. made a recommendation to this board, which approved that in July of 2025. The board adopted an ordinance approving the special use and the preliminary PUD at that time. Since that time, we've had three go-arounds with the PCCBA. February 17th, 2026, April 7th, 2026, and most recently at the time of the recommendation on May 5th, 2026. To say it was a thorough process would be an understatement. As you know, a final PUD approval does not reevaluate the preliminary approvals. The role, as Attorney Filippini said, is whether a final PUD is in substantial conformance with the preliminary PUD. And I think you'll see clearly in the previous staff reports that the staff had recommended, and subsequently the PCCBA approved substantial and found substantial conformance. In fact, since the preliminary PUD, the plan has been enhanced. The plan has provided further responses and reactions to some of the public comments. The plan has provided, actually, I would say, more conformity in direct response to some of the concerns that we've had in this room over the last almost year. There's been sound mitigation studies, amended sound mitigation studies, amended sound mitigation studies again, interactions with your engineering departments, a supplemented landscaping plan, revisions to the sound mitigation plan, all of which came forth to make the plan better and to be responsive not only to the PCCBA, but also to the public, subsequent to July of last year. So we're here roughly 11 months later. Interestingly, when the original sound mitigation study was offered and the testimony by Dr. Thunder was offered, and he's here tonight to answer any questions you may have, what wasn't taken into consideration was the 6-foot fence that we've agreed to put up and the additional 50 trees of landscaping on the north side that we've agreed to put up. Even without those things, the decibel reading did not violate nor was it inconsistent with your sound ordinance. So imagine those two now sound mitigation techniques layering into the sound mitigation plan, and you really have a sound that doesn't come close to the maximum of your ordinance, or as Dr. Thunder had testified, to a disturbing or obnoxious sound level. In terms of the traffic, one thing that's found in the most recent staff report of the PCCBA was some clarification. The peak number of trips in the AM is 27. The peak number of trips in the PM is also 27. Consider that with the daily traffic volume of Old McHenry Road, north of Illinois Route 22, which is 10,000 cars. So there's really no traffic impact whatsoever from this project. If I could just offer a couple more specifics. The private dog park was moved 30 feet south from the northernmost border and away from the residences. It is now 366 feet away from the residential lots, from the southern edge of the residential lots to the north. So as many of you know, that's more than a football field away. If we include the fence and include the buffering, which includes evergreens, 25 white pines, which will be 8 feet tall when planted, 26 green giant arborvitae, 6 feet tall when planted, and which will become 40 feet high at maturity. The sound mitigation plan becomes even more apparent. There's fencing around not only the north side, but there's fencing around the play yards. There's limited hours. There's also additional, I'm sorry to repeat myself, additional landscaping. We were also asked to provide an amended operations plan, which we did twice. An amended operations plan provided very specific standard operation procedures about waste removal. That was the most recent submittal prior to the May 5th PZZBA meeting. And it is very detailed about how the waste will be picked up, disposed of, how the odor will be controlled, very detailed about the maintenance of the dog areas. Jordan and Elizabeth have the current facility in Highland Park. They are dreamers, and they want this to be successful as another part of their business. They've put their heart and soul into this. They will live here. They will operate here. They will own this business here. They want to stay here and be good neighbors as they are in Highland Park with their business. We've addressed what we believe to be all the conditions thoroughly over the last 11 months. And while we respect some of the statements of the neighbors, we find that most, if not all of those have been properly addressed, responsibly addressed, and reasonably addressed since preliminary PUD and special use was approved. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'm going to now open it up for public comment. Okay. Okay. I'll remind you, we're going to try to keep it to 10-ish minutes. Now, does anybody else want to make public comment too? All right. So we'll just need to save a little bit of time. So we have a presentation too. I don't know if we're supposed to use that or not.
Mr. Malakos could use his presentation. Mine are more like boring words that hopefully you don't find too boring.
Like a big file you got there.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you, for the neighbors coming out again. I do represent a group of the homeowners on Pamela Court who are the most affected. George Malakal, who's here tonight, Tim Gigo, who's here tonight, Bobby Kahagias, I'm not sure if I saw him tonight, Pawan Jindal, Eddie Olchek, and Rob Pippin. Don't worry, I'm not going to multiply that by 3 minutes. I don't need that much time. But I did want to start off by just giving you, the neighbors here have been swimming upstream ever since the February 2026 ZBA, Plan Commission ZBA meeting. And I say that because some of us in the room might be lawyers, some of us in the room might be zoning experts, but I can say categorically that my clients received no notice, actual notice of the June 17th meeting in 2025. And that has been used against them consistently at all of the planned meetings. And what I mean by that specifically is as follows. Every time they would try to make a comment about the special use PUD ordinance already having been passed, having not been at that meeting to make comment, to bring experts, and all of the people that I represent and all of the other neighbors are extremely articulate, extremely bright, and you'll see by their presentation that they indeed know how to present evidence if they're given that opportunity, evidence that they were not able to give because they did not get notice, actual notice. It may comply with the village ordinance, meaning that the applicant filled out an affidavit suggesting that the notices were sent, but I can tell you categorically My clients filled out a counter affidavit indicating that notice was not received. That's why they were not at that meeting. That's why they were not at the July 2025 meeting before this Board of Trustees. So a large part of everything that has happened here was without the public comment, in particular, my clients in this lovely subdivision. That's why I say they were swimming upstream. One other consideration for you is that at 4580 Pamela Court, though I don't represent that homeowner, I believe, was not even on the list, although they were supposed to receive notice, having been 250 feet from the property line of the development. They were supposed to receive notice. There's no affidavit indicating they received notice, and in fact, they did not receive notice. The first February meeting in 2026 that they received notice, they 100% came out in force, 20 plus neighbors showing up, indicating their objection to this particular development. I know that this is not here for approval of the PUD. I know it's not here for the approval of the SUP. I know that was approved in July of 2025. However, I want to you can vote in favor or against this. You're not prohibited from doing that. So despite what you may think, you can vote against this for any reason whatsoever. And I just want to give you a piece of consideration for you on the actual public use ordinance in effect in the village of Long Grove. And that public use, the PUD ordinance, excuse me, it is 511-18 of your own ordinance. It requires, and this is, I'm going to read it verbatim, in order to pass a PUD, verbatim, comprehensive plan, section 2E, 5-11-18, a planned unit development must conform with the intent and spirit of the proposals of the comprehensive village plan. The village plan, the comprehensive village plan, the master plan of this particular piece of property is actually mentioned, which I wouldn't say is unusual, but that it's specifically mentioned, but it is specifically mentioned. And the village master plan indicates that this property should remain residential. I think sometimes there's discussion in the master plan about multi-unit, but nonetheless residential, not a commercial development. So if you consider the village's own PUD ordinance, that PUD ordinance uses the word must, and here it doesn't conform. There is a corner of the property where the PUD ordinance indicates that it would be ripe for a farmer's market. Obviously, that's not this development. So that's one. I'm not going to go through the standards of the special use permit ordinance because you all know that. But I can tell you that very clearly, if I was to give any credit to the applicant, the only standard they meet is in 511-17A, that it's deemed necessary the public convenience at that location. I'm not going to give on that, but I'm saying that might be the only one, because what you might hear tonight in the, when I only have a few more minutes here.
Oh, it's about 6 minutes right now. So
sorry,
you're about 6 minutes in.
Okay. And what I'd like to say to you is that this development is not right for this area. This is a commercial development adjacent to residents. When you start talking about the grant of the special use permit, indeed, you look at it, and even the master plan that I just talked about, it's the comprehensive plan. This is in your own master plan, calls for a preservation of the resources to protect the water resources, both ground and surface, from introduction of pollutants to groundwater resources, enhancing groundwater recharge, protection, and management of wetlands. Here you have 10,000 gallons of urine potentially a year on this property. You have 14,000 pounds of waste in dog poop, and there's a water well I don't know who it services, but it's, in terms of whether it's this development of other neighbors in the village of Long Grove, but there's a water well 175 feet from this project. In order to dissipate some of the urine that's going to be disposed, I heard at the last meeting that there's some type of special spray they use. I don't know what that spray does. I don't know if it becomes airborne. I don't know if it seeps into the ground. I don't know. But you know what? Either does the village. There was no study performed. The applicant provided no study. The traffic study that we tried to opine on, we couldn't opine on. The sound study was sent back last time. The Plan Commission offered my clients the possibility of bringing in their own expert. When they did that, they were forbidden from presenting that testimony. They couldn't present testimony either on value. Both those things we will show, the valuation shows that there's going to be about a 5 to 15% loss. I have those valuations with me, and when I conclude, I'm going to pass those out to you. The public also,
It's been your 8 minutes, and I'm going to have to ask you to cut it short here at this point.
Okay, I'm almost done. The public, there's 40 people on a petition that I'll pass out and give that to you as well. So I'm going to give you 3 handouts when I conclude. What I'm saying to you is that between traffic, urine, poop, commercial development on a residential property in violation of the master plan, this is not a good or ripe development for this. Now, Gregory Miller, I'm going to turn it over to him. He was called to give testimony at the last meeting to combat or to rebut the evidence of the applicant's sound study. He was precluded from doing so, but I want him to give you about 2 or 3 minutes of his opinion on the sound study, which I will pass out to you when I sit down. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Please. Yep.
By the way, to help with your feedback issue, if you have them unwire that loudspeaker over this one and you'll have less feedback next time. Sorry about that. I'm not going to try and repeat our review of this study. You have it in your hands. I just want to have a way that I'd hope that you'll be looking at it as you look through things. The question that we were asked is, does this address successfully the concerns of noise with respect to the code? Any applicable code requirements. And the question, so that was a question we were asked. We didn't do our own independent study. We were just reviewing the study as it was. And the conclusion that we had to come to was that it does not. The main reason is as we're looking at questions like this, we're always looking at when land use changes around a residence, what is the noise level now? What is the noise level going to be if this usage proceeds? And is the change in noise level small enough that it's acceptable or large enough that it's going to be disruptive? So all of that's a very experiential thing, and all the technical analyses come in answer of whether it's going to be disruptive. So as we looked at this, we concluded that the way that the ambient noise level, the existing background noise level was characterized came up with an answer that was too high. When we were looking at how were the noise levels of the dog activities characterized, and we concluded that the way that they were analyzed were technically too low. And so therefore, the difference between the existing background noise level and the noise level that is going to be there was not assessed properly. And so the question is, do you have enough information in your hands to be able to conclusively say this is going to meet the standards? And I would say that based on our review of the information, you do not. You do not have enough, and you do not have information that conclusively, technically, in a proper way, supports that. So that's all I'm going to be able to say right now, because I know that we're short on time. But in order to respect the committee's time, and if there are any questions about what was in that report, or how we came to our conclusions, or what the technical differences were, more than happy to answer them.
Thank you for your comment, George. Yeah. The presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm George Molecule from 4579. I represent all our residents here, and we like to bring to your attention a few key points. One is at the last PCB meeting, Annie Christmar had told us, bring your specialists and we will listen to them. And in the last meeting, we invested money, we got our specialists, and they were not heard. She just arm twisted us, and we were not given a chance for our specialists to present to the commissioners. And if this goes to the court, we know what the commissioners are going to come and say, because we have spoken to a few of them, and they know exactly what they'll be saying. So here's the first thing that we are thinking. So the next slide, please. Dr. Thunder's report says everything is at 55 decibels, whereas when a dog barks, it goes up to 82 to 95, and then it comes down. So Dr. Thunder is a specialist in sound engineering, but he's an industrial side. Dogs don't, bark at 55 and, keep constant at 55. When a dog barks, it goes up and it goes down. And that's what we are showing here. So when we sit in our homes, we are not going to hear 55 decibels average sound. We are just going to hear a dog bark. It's a spike and down, spike, down, spike, down. And when we sit at our homes, this is not the sound we want to hear, because we have invested in this community. We have been paying taxes out here. We have encouraged and we are living out here. And we want, all of you to hear us saying that this is not right for the residential neighborhood, because this is what Dr. Thunder says. Dogs are going to be barking at 55 thing and nobody's going to hear it. This is a complete, this one. The next slide, please. So none of us had the opportunity or the chance to come for the first PCBA meeting, because we never got the letter inviting us to come. We never got a notice. We, 5 of us, signed up affidavits saying that we were not present. If we were there, we would have shown that property values was one of the biggest concerns that we had. Now we have got a certified MAI appraiser. He's certified. Gary's got a history of 50 years, and he clearly says that our property values will sink down. And it's going to sink between 5% to 15%. He has come out with zone 1, the houses bordering it. Zone 2, houses between 500 feet. Zone 3, houses between 1,800 feet. Property values are going to sink for people like us. And if this is passed today, where do we go? Do we go to Lakeshore and say, I lost my property, can you recompensate me? Can we come to Village of Long Grove? We can't. So our appeal to you is that please listen to us. This is certified. This is through a property appraiser, MI appraiser. Gary, you can check his record. He's not here today because he's a judge in another event. Others he would have been here today. Next slide, please. There's no baseline. There's no plan. We went through the recording of 2025 YouTube recording. And we could listen where you were inviting the applicant to come and say, please come. I'm today telling you, we will buy the property from you. And we put a garden up there. This is a direct offer from us. We will remove all that shed and everything at our cost. We will buy it, we'll remove it. We'll make it a beautiful garden out there. But what we are seeing over here is wells at 170 feet, not 250 feet. 170 feet. It's in the flood zone. And maybe not in the first year, 14,000 tons of fecal matter and 52 gallons of water tank of urine is going to go into the property. We can put all the chemicals, but over a period of few years, this is going to go sink and sink and sink, and it's going to affect our wells. And we were very happy. Rita Connor came and she stood in our property. She could see, Rita, do you think enough dogs bark, we could have a party at the back? You were there. Yeah, so, and we invited all of you. President Bill, we invited you, but you were busy, so you couldn't come. We appreciate you replied and you made the effort to come, so we appreciate that. Trustee Chris Borowski, you said last time, if there's a dog bark behind my back, I don't want to have a dog bark behind my back. So we respect that. Treat us like your people. Just treat us like you. You know, if you are in my shoes, if you are in as residents, how will you treat us? So we request you. This is a catastrophic mess for all of us. Next, please. What happens is that from May 3rd, 2024, we saw the private meeting. May 14th, we saw the Chris Meyer meeting. She chairs the meeting, she sends it to the PCBA, and then she resigns as a trustee, and then she becomes the PCBA chair. And then we saw how she was pushing and think. I'm not going to that because we're going to use part of it as evidence if this goes to court. If this gets passed and we get no justice here, we are determined to go to the courts tomorrow and file an injunction and see what we have to do there. Because we as residents, we need justice. And we are appealing to the trustees. Please listen to us. There's so many, defective violations out here. Not one or two. There are multiple defective violations out here. We requested for FOIA documentation, and that was denied completely. There was a record coming back to Bobby saying that no, we don't have any record of that event. The applicant, I'm not sure, Bill, whether you were aware about it. When the applicant came to you, they had not purchased the property. Before pre-purchases, the applicant had come to you, and only then, it was there. So all that recordings are there. They had a dissolved LLC applicant, open meetings at exposure. There's so many this one. So we are just asking you, please defer the vote, send it back, and let's get it right. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Now we're almost double the 10 minutes. There's one more public comment. And then we're going to close that.
I believe there was 4 properties on the ordinance that you guys kind of showed that would be impacted. If you look along the lake, our property probably would be number 7. Every household in the subdivision have animals. We're all dog lovers. We personally have 3 dogs in the house. We have 2 German Shepherds and a mid-sized dog. I can tell you personally that dogs have a different hearing than we do. They have 4 times stronger than a human hearing. If you saying the facility is going to be operating from 7 to 7, it's not, because it says it's going to operate from 6 to 8, which means it's not going to close until 8:30. I can guarantee to you that my shepherds will hear other dogs because we live in a wildlife neighborhood. It's kind of charming to hear when the dogs start barking at each other between the neighbors and they howl for a little bit. It's great. You enjoy it. That's what makes our subdivision. But when you go and you hear this for 14 hours straight, that's a completely different story. The other thing that I would like to point out, it's somebody, I think Mr. Shapiro mentioned that there is 27 cars. How many people are going to be working at that place? Probably 5, 6 minimum. That's 5, 6 lots taking. I think there was a dedicated 7 lots for the 14 lot dogs that allowed at the park. So we're kind of neglecting additional 7 parking spaces. The other thing that I had is my main concern are the hours. I mean, you guys are starting at 6 o'clock in the morning. I typically let my dogs out at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be barking throughout the whole neighborhood. I don't think anybody want to hear dogs at 6 o'clock in the morning, especially Chris, like he mentioned, he would not want to have his dog barking or having another dog barking on his backyard. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your comment. I'm going to, we're well over, Christina. All right, last one, and we'll stop it there.
I represent the people that have been in the subdivision for quite a while and know the noise that came from Jay's Camp when it ran as Jay's Camp, period. That's without these fancy studies. We are going to hear it. My trees are way bigger now, right? Than 2018 or whatever. But during the winter, it's not. During the fall, it's not. During the spring, it's not. We're going to hear it. There are a list of questions. I went through all the trustee meetings. There was a list of questions that you guys had from like the first July meeting. Unfortunately, I wasn't there. And then all of a sudden, the second meeting, there was like no questions from the trustees. Well, those questions are still unanswered. I know I sent you guys an email. Hopefully you got to read through it. My biggest thing is canine related events and pools. I'm redundant with this, but there is no study at all regarding that. No traffic, no sound study. What does canine related events mean? Pool within 5 years to expand it. Why isn't there more information in the operational plan about the pool? So that's additional information that was just completely missed at the zoning level. And it was addressed to them also by me in a letter, and it's just completely missed. So I just request that you consider those additional points, consider the questions that again, a lot of them came from the questions that the trustees had at the first meeting in July. And then the second meeting, they were just not answered. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. All right. End of the public comment on this. I'm going to turn it back to the board. Vic, do you want to help us with any procedural aspects of before we dialogue?
I think really for the board, the question is whether or not the standards for final PUD are met, i.e., is it conforming to the preliminary plan? And are the conditions that were set forth in the preliminary PUD ordinance satisfied?
Thank you for that. I don't know which way to go. Does somebody have something they want to discuss, questions they have? You're looking at me? No? All right.
Start the other side.
All right, we'll look at Dave Gayton. Anything?
Just what Vic had said is when I'm just looking at just what the PUD said and did they comply? Did they do everything that they were required to do? It looks like they did. And it looks like they had 3 public hearings. I don't know how many more public hearings they needed because they had one in February, April, and in May. So, as far as my questions were been answered. So, I mean, I think if they met the burden of the PUD, I think they did.
All right, thank you for those thoughts. Trustee Harris.
Yeah, I agree with Dave. I think it's going to be a great fit. I know it's been a dilapidated property for now 8 years. I personally toured the property in the middle of the day, and I was uncomfortable walking through the property, which is very rare for me. I think it'll be a tremendous improvement on that land, and I'm really not concerned too much about the claims by the residents here about noise and waste, quite frankly. I think the applicants have limited the amount of dogs. From our discussions in the past about the dog park specifically, it didn't seem, I forgot what the cap was, but it is very limited. We're not talking about 200 dogs here. I can think of many types of businesses that would be a much less favorable solution. And I think I don't have any questions at this point, but that's my position on it.
All right, thank you, Trustee Harris. Trustee O'Connor.
I just have one clarification question. I don't know if all of the notes are today notes regarding the fence. It's you have agreed to a 6-foot vinyl fence. What color is it?
No, Cementec fence. It's a sound barrier.
That's what I think is different than what I am.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, go ahead.
It was originally, we were originally thinking about a PVC, but the new type of fence actually reflects sound better. And it also is a little more aesthetically pleasing.
Right. Okay. So my note here is wrong. Okay. All right. That's great. That's a question. And I like my 2 trustee associates here. I think that this business at this corner is a much calmer, nicer business than what could potentially be put before us. It could be a car wash. It could be, do you want fries with that? It could be, 1995 buys, this four-wheel vehicle. Those are all reputable, acceptable businesses. And I think that you people have been patient, very patient. You've done everything you can. You've answered all of our questions. I appreciate that. And for whatever it's worth, I know probably a lot of you won't take this to heart. I will tell you that I have been in real estate sales and management for more years than I care to admit to. I've seen one depression. We all saw it in 2018. Property values came back. That was a different issue. The property values now are the highest I've ever seen in my career. And there are other issues in this country going on that could cause property values to depress, be depleted. And appraisal is one appraiser's opinion of value. You and I could look at the same property and give it two different values, and both are legitimate. But I will tell you this, my experience is not that there's a highway being put behind your homes. Having said all of that, I think it's a great fix. I think it does answer the question we're here to answer. I'm in favor of it.
Thank you for your comments. Trustee Tanucci,
No comments at this time.
trustee Borowski. Promise I won't talk about the Bears.
No, it's all good. Just kind of a couple of questions. So, we had some documents handed to us today. There's some comments about 10,000 gallons of urine. Has that been verified by our staff, or is that just, so I thought this facility is connected to Lake County Sewer. Where's the 10,000 gallons come from? Is it strictly on the dog park area, or how do we even calculate that? Or have we verified that that's even accurate? And the second corollary to that is, what is the impact of 10,000 gallons of urine in a relatively confined area over time? Does anybody know that? Has village staff looked at that?
I'll take a stab at that one. I'm not a dog expert. I don't know how much dogs urinate on a daily basis, but I will go to Google and I looked up, how much does a large dog urinate? 70-pound dog. It's approximately 123 gallons a year. The outdoor dog park has 14 dogs from the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Doing the math, that's 1,736 gallons a year. So I'm not sure where 10,000 came from. The sanitary sewer that is, let's call it, emitted within the building, that flows to the public sanitary sewer that's tributary to the Des Plaines River wastewater treatment plant. So the only thing that goes to the wetland is what's in the dog park. Just kind of doing a little other math. Statewide average rainfall in Illinois is 40.69 inches in 2024, almost 33 inches in 2025. So you're adding 0.02% to water runoff to the wetland. Keep in mind, urine is 95% water, and it does flow into a wetland. It is a federally regulated wetland, and there's numerous studies, including those by UIUC, that define wetlands as nature's kidneys to filter contaminants in groundwater and runoff.
Thanks, Jeff. That's one of the clearest answers you've ever given me. I really thank you. Second question, kind of the same area. So earlier we heard testimony from I can't remember the attorney or the expert on the sound mitigation, and ours potentially being incorrect. How does engineering view the sound mitigation and the sound reaching the neighbors?
That one I probably got a less clear and helpful answer for you. I'm not a sound expert. Our company is not sound experts. So all we can do is look at the data that's been provided to us and, you know, say, does it reasonably look accurate? And we've got no basis to even make that judgment.
Isn't Dr. Thunder here tonight?
Chris, do you want Dr. Thunder to speak on the sound or no?
Not really, because we need to verify it from our own engineering resources.
Right.
Right? I mean, I'm sure there's experts who can, you know, tell us a lot of things, but I think we need to verify it from our own resources as well, just to ensure it's correct. My last question is pertaining to the dog park, and also maybe the kennel early morning and evening activities. Can we clarify what the hours of operation are for the dog park and the kennel? You know, the outdoor activities of the dogs coming out of the kennel doors in the morning or in the evening, and how that aligns with our noise ordinance in terms of the hours of operation. You know, I'm thinking, if I don't want a landscaper out at 6:30 in the morning, do I want a dog out at 6:30 in the morning, kind of thing? So I'm trying to just understand.
So what I do know is the dog park's only open from 7 to 7, 7 days a week. So the outdoor dog park.
And
7 days a week.
Now, does that align with our noise ordinance?
Chris?
Yeah. I think in the kennel. Yeah.
Okay, so how about the dogs in the kennel themselves? And are they ever released into the little outdoor pens adjacent to the kennel earlier than 7 o'clock?
Least in the morning to relieve themselves in the enclosed outdoor kennels touching around the building itself, not the dog park.
Okay, and what are the hours of operation and limitations there?
Dan, Shapiro, you're gonna address that?
Yeah, but this one.
Yeah.
So, do you want to try, Mike? Go ahead.
6 to 8 for letting dogs into the relief yards.
So 6 to 8 o'clock.
Mike Mathis with Linden Group Architects.
So in essence, that kind of violates our noise ordinance, doesn't it? In terms of like landscape contractors or anything like that, or machinery operation?
For making noise that was driving to a nuisance level, we could enforce the noise ordinance from our lawn maintenance ordinance.
Could you speak up, please? Because we can't really hear you.
Yeah. That ordinance was specific for the landscaping component.
So what form does that take? So 6 a.m. rolls around on day one and you get a crap load of dogs out in their little kennels barking, and White Oaks residents are getting woken up at 6 in the morning. How do we enforce that? How do we measure it? What do we do with it?
The sheriff would get called to go out there and investigate. Violating local ordinance.
Hey, hold on, let's keep order here.
If it's an ordinance violation, the sheriffs would go out and investigate if it was a nuisance. Oh, the Lake County Sheriff would go. I'm sorry, I don't.
Then we shouldn't have the dogs out at 6 o'clock in the morning. We're going to respond.
Can answer that.
All right, so we're,
He asked you questions.
no, you guys are out of order. Just, please be quiet right now.
If I could just add one thing. In the July meeting, I believe it was stated that you only let 10 dogs out at a time. Is that correct? Okay. And they're going into a fenced area, which is the area that's furthest from the homes. And I mean, I've had dogs for 40 years. My experience in the morning is they go out, they do their business, they want to come right back in and eat breakfast. They're not out there barking their heads off. Plus, they're inside a fenced area, so they're not receiving stimulation, traffic, other people outside that would cause them to bark.
Everyone, please be quiet. Please.
From factual things, from professionals, we're hearing about.
Sir, you're out of order. You're out of order. Please keep us going.
Well, okay, thanks. I get all that. I appreciate it. No, I don't have any other questions per se.
Question. So thank you. You're asking wonderful questions that nobody.
How late at night are the dogs to be let out again? They usually have to go potty at bedtime.
Well, go ahead and answer that question, please. Yeah.
Well, the first question, just on the time, the hours that are in the operational plan are 7 to 7. So that's what's actually in the operation plan.
Well, we're going to have to, we're going to have to know, we're going to have to keep this in order. I'm sorry. There's been a lot of comment already. What, Dan,
Yeah, I was just going to try to reiterate that, President Jacob, we're here to answer questions, and the operational plan, and also offer a summary. The operational plan that Mike was just referring to was part of the record before the PCCBA. On page 2 of it, hours of operation for pickup and drop off, morning 7 to 9, evening 4 to 6, evening pickup 5 to 7. So effectively 5 to 7. There's a lot more in that operation plan, but I hope that provides some clarity to the question.
Thank you. I basically, we've had the public comment. There's been multiple hearings. I'm trying to keep this in order. We're trying to address some of those questions as best we can. I've asked Dan Shapiro to address that last question. So I'm going to stop it there because public comment's over with. And I'll turn it back to the board. Are there other questions that the board has?
I have a question. What's the distance between the closest neighboring property line and those immediate kennels right next to adjacent to the building? As far as
366 feet to the fence.
I think it's 1,000 feet.
For different measurement. Sure.
639 feet, 7 inches to the closest outdoor play yard to the property line up to the north.
That's your question? All right. I basically at this point, I just want to find out what the board wants to do on this. I saw some nodding of heads. Did anyone's position change based on the discussion here? If not, does somebody want to make a motion to approve?
There is one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Or one area of points that you may want to give some thought to. In the draft ordinance, there are identified, and if you look at your packet, it's page 79 of 253. It identifies 3 conditions that were part of the Plan Commission motion. And one of them related to the fence height. You received some information from the village planner about that. One related to the berm, you received some information from the village engineer about that. And the last one related to waste removal. You will note that the waste removal issue, which is part of their operational plan, has been addressed in part in the ordinance general conditions, because we've provided that the village manager has the ability to require adjustments to that operational plan, which would include adjustments vis-a-vis the waste removal. Whether you want to keep that condition in or not is all for you, and that relates to all 3 of them. But I think that the village engineer and village planner had some fairly cogent concerns about those two conditions and the appropriateness of them. I believe that you also received some communications from at least one member of the Planning Commission about them.
So if somebody's going to make a motion to approve, they would have to include the fence height. If it's 6 or 8 feet, whether or not there's a berm or not, and then whether or not this waste removal provision should be added that could actually provide us with less control than if it were in there, right?
Could be interpreted that way, yes.
So those are the 3 items. If somebody wants to make a motion to approve.
Can I just clarify? So the dog waste is removed from the dog run or the dog park on a daily basis. And then that's taken and put into the
They have a
dumpster
dumpster.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Where's that dumpster located? Is it close to
Dumpster
the
is
dog park? or
near the
building?
building.
Okay. So realistically, there's not really going to be any smell wafting over to the residents being that far away in a sense, right? At least that's my interpretation of that.
I'm afflicted with allergies, so I couldn't offer any.
Thank you. I appreciate.
That's actually a great question, though, is how do you control the smell of the waste that goes in the containers, right? Can you answer that for us?
Yeah, so in the dog park, we have 2, you've probably seen them in public parks. It's like a sign that comes out of the ground that has waste bags for patrons that are using it. And patrons are required by rules of the park to pick up their own waste. So that gets bagged, tied, and put in a trash can that has a cover at that spot. We also have daily walks through the park by staff to look for waste and make sure that's orderly and clean. The next level is the play yards. So waste collection that's in the play yards that are adjacent to the building. There's a 5-gallon bucket that's lined and has a cap on it. And so waste is immediately collected by the supervising employee, and it's put in that can, and the can is closed. When the can reaches 50% full, the bag gets taken out, tied, and put in the dumpster. So everything that's going into the dumpster is tied and sealed in a bag, and it's collected weekly or bi-weekly, or as determined in the future by the village manager if there's an odor issue. And likewise, from our standpoint, the trash is furthest away from residents, close to our entrance. It's in our interest to make sure that we don't have smelly waste at the entry to our facility.
Does that go into a landfill? Where's it go?
It does, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that and appreciate it. Understand.
All right, so, it's, again, if you want to proceed with this, somebody would have to make a motion.
I had a question about the berm. Our engineer said that the berm might create some issues.
Correct. As I mentioned at the Plan Commission meeting, there's a lot of competing interests and objectives for a berm. From an engineering perspective, I'm looking at the berm as it is contemplated on the property, which is immediately north of the dog park fence, excuse me. So the property has a federally regulated wetland on it, which I mentioned earlier. It's got a floodplain on it, which was actually in one of the slides that the resident showed earlier. Adding a berm would introduce impacts to both of those natural resources. And in addition, the site drains from south to north. So introducing a berm at that location will block natural drainage flow. So there would need to be some engineering done to accommodate that water, whether that is swales around it, which would further exacerbate impacts to floodplains and wetlands, or put culverts under the berm to direct water to the wetland where it's naturally flowing. And in both cases, it's kind of a workaround to something and kind of exemplifies, in my professional opinion, not a great idea. And I would highlight that the berm discussion at the plan commission meeting, the idea was to increase the fence height. And as the applicant's sound expert, Dr. Thunder, had mentioned, that there's a negligible impact or benefit from increasing a fence height from the 6 foot that's proposed to what would be 9 feet with, with the fence being on a 3-foot berm.
What's the expense of going from 6 to 8 feet?
I would defer that question to somebody else.
The cost of the additional fence to make it an 8-foot versus a 6-foot with that special material.
I don't have the actual cost, but it is a significant linear footage of fencing. And if we're going to the improved sound material, it's an additional burden beyond that. And it's the sound fence is like 30 to 40% more than a PVC fence. So an 8-foot increase could be another 20%, but I'm just guessing. So,
Just curious.
yeah, so I'm sorry, I don't have an accurate number for that.
Speaking of the 8 feet, I mean, just last meeting, we were trying to get a fence ordinance and we were going to set 6 feet being the max, and anything else that was non-compliant had to get compliant within 15 years. So I don't think it's fair to have someone put something up that we know that's going to be non-compliant and that they're going to have to redo, especially at that expense. That to me doesn't make sense.
Well, you're at a point here. Somebody needs to.
So I'll make a motion to approve the planned unit development for K9 Enrichment Center with a 6-foot fence, no berm, and the more flexible language on the third point.
So we'd be deleting conditions F, G, and H. Is that your?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, so that was moved by trustee Tanucci. Anyone want to second it?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Gayton. That's a roll call.
Can we clarify the removal of that language? I'm not sure I understood it.
If you look on page 79 of the packet, there are 3 conditions, F, G, and H. The motion is to approve it without those 3 paragraphs.
I see. Thank you. F, G, and H just kind of blurred into each other. I didn't quite understand it. So thank you.
Code.
Roll call.
Trustee Tanucci,
Aye.
trustee Gayton,
Aye.
trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee Harris,
Aye.
trustee O'Connor.
All right, that motion is carried.
Great job. You did a great job. Unbelievable. You guys are all pre-planned. All because you don't want to get sued. It's amazing.
The next item on the agenda is an application for invasive species grant request. Let's see, trustee Tanucci, do you want to?
Yeah, this is very cut and dried. I recommend approval and I'll make a motion to approve the grant request.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll need a second. So just wait 1 second. Our village clerk is, we have a spelling, so if you need it, we have it. Thank you, George. Okay, thank you. So we have a motion to approve of the invasive species grant application. We need somebody to second it. Seconded by trustee O'Connor. That's a roll call vote.
Who made the motion? I'm sorry.
I made the motion.
Kent made the motion. Rita seconded.
Trustee Tanucci,
Aye.
trustee O'Connor,
Aye.
trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee Gayton.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. All right, this is back on the agenda by popular demand or not popular demand. This is a resolution for approval of an agreement to refresh the website. You want to, let's Jill, you want to, or somebody who wants to just do the.
All they're out.
Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to talk about the website.
Okay,
So
good,
if
good.
you guys have any questions, I would love to. I know the last time that we met, I'm sorry, am I talking loud? I talk loud in general. So I know last time we met, there was some concern about ADA compliance. So I wanted to just give the board some updates on ADA and when we met with Revise. So the website in general is ADA compliant without any other function. The widget, which on the left, or sorry, on the right-hand corner comes with it, that actually creates an extra software that allows people to just have the ability to change it. So like if your eyes are hurting one day and you don't have a software for that, it just allows it automatically. So that's just an extra parameter that we get. It is not an overlay because as we know, overlay is not ADA compliant, doesn't do anything for that. So this website has nothing with an overlay. It's already ADA compliant, but it comes with the widget. When in your packet, there was an additional ask for the board, which is the WCAG scan. What this is a catch-all. So it ensures that the human error that can often be found when we're uploading something is actually found, and then it becomes ADA compliant. So if I was to upload an image and let's say I forget to put the alt text to it, that scan will find it, put the alt text so that the individual that needs the alt text will be able to have it through the widget or through their own software. And then when it comes to the template, which I know some trustees had a question on, like the looks of the website, it is not a cookie cutter template of like Long Grove's going to get template 6. We're going to put all these things. We actually have a pre-meeting that we talk about what we want the design to look like, the colors, what our images are, like the images we'd like, how we'd like things set up. Do we want the calendar here? Do we want emails here? And that's all discussed in that pre-meeting. So those are the questions. Those are the feedbacks that I received from the last meeting that we spoke about this, but I'm happy to answer any other questions that the board has if others came up.
Please go.
Well, I spoke with Chris this afternoon on this topic, and they Revise, I believe, is offering a checkup twice a year. So I'm thinking that if I'm colorblind or I'm a senior and I've got, 2200 vision or whatever, that it probably would need checking on something more regularly than 6 months, because broken links tend to remain broken links. And I also suggested that maybe it would free you up from having to do all that checking. There are companies in the universe who will do that for us. Yeah, they charge a fee, but what's your time worth? It doesn't help if it's not 365 days out of the year. So, that's a request, and I don't think it's unreasonable for those who need to use that kind of.
Yeah.
So what's the request?
Well, to go deep into the app and check for things like the problem that municipalities run into is you're always changing information on the website. Right. And maybe some things are static, but not 100% of the time. So if you are a citizen trying to use this and you need accommodations, the overlays don't work. It needs to work with the machinery that these people have that helps them to hear what they can't see, or vice versa. So it's a problem. It's just like if you get in your car and your turn signal isn't working, you're gonna check it out twice a year. It could be anywhere from somebody who's colorblind to somebody who just doesn't see well, has cataracts, whatever it is. It would be nice to have the things that are being input and or changed, because information does change, that broken links happen. And it's a time suck to mess with that every day. There are companies that do it for you. I'm just suggesting it might be more financially responsible to have Megan's time spent doing other things besides checking for broken links on a daily basis.
So we would still put a new website in place, the infrastructure for it, but then hire somebody else to do that.
Yeah, I'm all for running with this. We desperately need a site that's not an embarrassment. I have no problem with that. I'm saying this aspect of it.
Got
I would note that what Rita's discussing is not on the agenda tonight, so we couldn't address that today. But that's something that I presume would have to be further investigated in any case.
It's fine.
Okay.
Got it.
Megan brought it up.
Yeah, so I want to give other people time to talk if they want. I mean, I think the thing that I wanted to just comment on is that from the workshop, from the last meeting, from the memo, there was this notion of marketing, which was one thing, the ADA stuff, but the real thing that we're trying to do here is put in the infrastructure to support our business, our government business, to enable better searching, to free up staff time and just fix it because it's all broken. As I understand it, somebody can tell me I'm totally wrong. I understand it. The way we have the screen set up, as far as what's on it, the splash screens, we have the ability to change some of that over time, new pictures, new graphics, et cetera. And I guess we still have some ability to do some of that as we build it, but the main purpose of doing this was to have a tool that would free up staff time, that would make it easier for the residents to find things, to fill out permits, et cetera. And also, if I'm correct, and somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, that this actually will cost less than the service we have today. Which is another benefit of it. And oh, by the way, Trustee Tanucci made a comment about, we got to act now. We got to get it done before our other program lapse, right?
Exactly.
Because we're going to have to, maybe have two websites in place. So maybe if we act now, we'll have it in place. So I will stop, let other people make comments because I just wanted to share my thoughts on it. So, and I'm looking at you, Chris. So.
Where can I find our call report?
The old call report that we used to
My
get,
fly's open all this time. I apologize.
you didn't have to share that, but anyways, we used to get a paper report and every call that came in was written down. And you know about it, I know about it, and that stopped when all the village staff changed. So that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, and the reason I bring that up, because again, last 2 weeks ago, we talked about all of the calls we get and the, people who are getting frustrated and I get it, they probably are, but how many is that? And what are they getting frustrated about? How do I know what that is? I thought we were going to get a call report. I thought there was some software that was going to be implemented to track calls coming and going. I don't know whatever happened to that. I mean, I'm okay with a piece of paper. I'm okay with an Excel sheet, but the complaint that residents are frustrated and we're answering all these calls on the website. I'm from Missouri tonight. Please show me. And that's what I'm frustrated with. One of the things I'm just really frustrated with, we've asked so many times for a call report. We used to have it, we publish it, we knew who was making phone calls, we don't get it. I just want to know why we don't get it. I don't understand. It's simple. And even if you don't want to share it with a trustee, it ought to be shared with staff members so that staff members know what people are working on. I don't get it. I'm sorry.
But how was that formulated in the past?
We had an Excel sheet.
Somebody had to write it down.
Yeah, and then we're going to move to a software capture system that was going to capture and transmit that data as task assigned workflow, right? And that never happened. So I'm just like going, okay, look, I get it. You guys want to make it easier for yourselves, for the residents, but show me, prove it to me. How many calls do we get? I have no idea. Do we get 5? Do we get 50? I don't know. That was my concerns at the last meeting. I know we need to do this, but I'm just like, I just don't know why we can't get something that simple. I don't get it.
You want to respond to the software?
We do have the resident request portal, which is different from the phone call tracking, but we are pushing people towards putting requests on our website through the SRS
Correct.
system, and they're starting to use that more and more. Right? We
Yeah.
direct the relying on normal business hours. I don't know the volumes. It'll be in our Q4 report coming out. We would rely on Comcast, whatever reporting we can get from them outside of handwriting notes down from the 5 people that get calls all day, which if that's an ask, we can certainly.
But trustee Borowski, for the service request system, since we've implemented, we've received 268 action item requests. So that's from FOIA to concerns to complaints, animal, pothole, planning and zoning, all in between.
In over what period of time?
This was implemented a year. So in 1 year, this is just what we receive through our service request system. This does not include the daily calls that the village staff receive. So this is on top of the village staff receiving phone calls and in-person visitors.
Okay, Jeff, get your calculator. So 270 calls divided by 12 months is like,
About 12 business days, like
right. I mean,
1 a day. Yeah.
1 a day, right? So why, I mean, why is that burdensome to 5 staff members? What am I missing?
Well, what you may not know is all the time people search our website to try to find an application or try to figure something out on their own.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that we don't know.
More, it's not that, the website, we really want it to be a tool and a resource for our residents, for them to feel empowered and accessible. So when they do call us, it's asking more detailed questions on something or how something works or why, and kind of getting more to the root maybe of the code or a fee versus why isn't this not working? I need to do this. I'm very frustrated. I already put this form in. No one contacted me. It's the lack of consistency, which does cause frustration for our residents.
Bill, you just said it. You hit it right on the head. What you may not know. That's my point. I don't know. That's my point. Thank you for reaffirming that you understand my concern.
I do understand your concern.
Thank you.
Trustee Borowski, totally get it.
Thank you.
And I remember those reports too, so.
Look, I think we
something
need
to think
to do
about.
this.
So.
Yeah, I mean, we need to do this. There's no question. The website's messed up, screwed up. Last question, promise. When you say we will work with the vendor to talk about style and shape and size and all that, who is we? Like specifically, who's on that we committee?
It would be myself, the village manager, and our communications manager.
Well, and so one of the trustees should be on it.
Oh, and trustee Harris, as he's the communications.
Any resident input on that? Should there be?
Anyone?
Resident
Resident
input. Should we have a
input.
resident provide us feedback too?
Maybe, I don't know, do we go out and poll the crowd and say what's good, what's bad, or is it bad enough that we don't need to do that?
How hard would it be to just put a note out there that we're looking for a resident or two to provide feedback on our new website? We blast it out in one of the e-newses and see if anyone responds.
But does it make sense? I don't know if it makes sense, right?
Well, it wouldn't be like,
But you could, actually, that's not a bad idea.
yeah.
You could get a senior, you could get a techie,
Yeah.
who understands all the workings. And I keep running into people that know less than I do, which makes me feel good, but it also is very scary, so.
I don't know what that, is that a backhanded compliment or something?
No, that's different. You're mixing up your metaphors. But I think that if you could get 2 or 3 representing 2 or 3 different, factions out there, my concern is what happens if you die. I know what your concern
All right,
too.
let's not go.
Yeah.
Win the lottery.
Yeah, or you win the lottery,
Problem.
That's right. But
So we need to do this. I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure to whatever contractor, and let's move it forward.
Clarify if you want to add the ADA compliant WCAG 2.2 AA scan. It's like $2,000 a year for the level one.
For a level one scan, which includes 2 comprehensive scans per year, it's 2,400 a year.
I'll defer that to Rita. Does that mean anything to you? It means nothing to me.
And to clarify the scan, just so that there's more clarity. So if I was to put an image, I'm going to put that alt text or whatever that ADA needs to happen. But let's say for some reason I just forget, because we're all human, that scan twice a year will pick up that error. So it might be just one picture I put one time in November, everything else has been fine. Then that scan will make sure to put the alt text for the one time that I did it. So it's more just a catch-all, but the staff that will be doing that will ensure, but in case something happens, we are all human. No, that's just a catch-all.
Okay, so,
If I could say one thing,
Yeah.
I did bring one item up for suggestion to Mr. Spark. I think it's a good idea to try to put into the contract that we retain ownership of the website that we're paying them to build. We can agree to a hosting contract with them, but if we are to shift, it'd be nice to avoid a situation that we may be in soon, where, the entire website that we pay to develop and build disappears when our contract terminates, and then we have to spend more money 3-5 years from now to do the same thing. It's pretty common, and I think we could get it. I think it's worth a shot.
We did
Even
see
if it
Claire's.
increases-
Sorry.
To retain ownership would be very nice.
We did seek clarification from them after I spoke to you. We're still waiting to hear back, but I don't think they can, I think we do retain ownership. I just want to verify that with them. And if not, we will do what we can to add that in.
The resolution approves the proposal and authorizes the contract for Chris to sign in consultation with our office.
Great.
So we will have that. That's a good point, and we will make sure that's addressed.
So I'll withdraw my poorly worded motion.
okay, so what should the motion be?
So you unmotion.
Yeah, because I don't know what, I don't know what that
Because
was.
do we need the scans, or are we going to hire a consultant later on a different? We want to hire a separate consultant. The ADA stuff, that's what it is. The 24 hours, we want to have the base scan.
But that's, yeah, and it's a colonoscopy twice a year.
Okay, so, but we want to have that in it, and then look for
Yeah,
Or
I would.
an additional
And then we
consultant.
could dump the 2,400 a year, depending upon what, let's say a company comes to us and says, I'll do it for,
Yeah, we can,
We can include in the
Yeah.
contract that's an option
Mhm.
at our choosing.
They view it as an option. There's tiers. We can either go up to more or we can take it away.
so let me ask you this, is the 26,640 include the colonoscopy twice a year?
I'm just,
Does it?
it's just,
Can we get off that?
Yes. Yes.
Does.
It does?
And the 26,640 also includes like a temporary website that they would move us on while they complete ours if Civic Plus won't give us a 3 to 6.
And that's also as necessary. That's not an automatic. If we're ready to launch, we don't need to have the duplicate website.
Okay, so what should the resolution be then? Vic, tell us how.
I would say to approve it as presented, and it will simply be direction to the manager and our office that the village is to be retaining the ownership of the website. The ADA component will be at the village's option, and the backup website at village option.
Not to exceed $26,640?
We'd have the authorization for the full amount,
Okay,
but the contract will have those as breakaway pieces.
okay, got it. Somebody want to make a motion to do that? to approve that?
motion what you just said.
Okay, please go.
I said what he just said, I motion.
Oh, you did. So, all right, moved by trustee O'Connor, seconded by trustee Tanucci. Roll call, please.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee Gayton,
Aye.
trustee Harris.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. Now, this is, this is really an exciting thing, but it's getting really late. So Jeff, can you do your engineer's report really quickly?
I certainly can. So if I may, it was a beautiful weekend. I wasn't thinking about the engineer's report, but I was thinking about construction being in full season. So with that, few updates on construction. Lake Michigan water connection, all the restoration is done on Arlington Heights Road, and Peter Baker is scheduled to pave that tomorrow. The 2026 road maintenance program for the village, which is Checker Road, Hampton Drive, and Tall Oaks Drive. We've got a pre-construction meeting with Builders Paving on Thursday. Schedule is TBD, but we should know after that meeting. Construction, Aptekissick Road Water Main. We had a pre-construction meeting with Morrow Sewer last week, and they are scheduled to start construction on June 8th. Lake Dot construction on Old McHenry Road. The schedule was a little bit more expedited than I was given by Lake Dot at the last meeting. The first lift of asphalt is on Old McHenry Road from Cuba all the way up to Route 22. If you want to go up past 22, you still get the treat of driving on milled pavement. So that's the next paving that they're going to do.
What is it they were doing? What is it they were doing on Old McHenry? We talked about it. What were they doing on Old McHenry? You know, we didn't know what they were doing for a while, the dig.
Oh, they were doing some shoulder drainage work.
It was just drainage.
Yeah. Yep. And then the last paving update, Arlington Heights Road, just the county's project from Lake Cook to 83, that is scheduled to be paved this week. So, but a few different things going on, few notes on the engineer's report of updates, but those are the highlights. If there's any questions, happy to take those.
All right, thanks for that phenomenal report. Very brief.
There's only one calculation that you missed earlier. You did not calculate the amount of output presently from the wild animals on the said property.
Oh, geez.
You
I
missed
apologize for that.
All right.
I have been told and on good authority that Jeff is actually a renowned expert on that.
All right, so let me just keep us moving. Village president and trustee reports. The only thing I want to ask when we get to Dave Gayton is weather was perfect for Chocolate Fest. I'm curious how they did. I'm sure they did well. End of my report. Trustee Borowski, do you have a report?
No, just an apology for my above normal composure loss tonight.
Well, I'm going to apologize to you because I thought I was being funny, but sorry. Thank you. Trustee Gayton.
Just a update. Yeah. Chocolate Fest was good. It was, numbers were up. I mean, beautiful weather. But so it was interesting though, because it was just steady. So actually it was the perfect fest because usually sometimes we just get slammed at one thing. It was just steady throughout the day and the night. So real good. Looking forward to Strawberry Fest coming end of June now. So
Thank you. Anything else?
nope. End of report.
All right, thank you. Trustee Harris. Trustee O'Connor.
no report.
Trustee Tanucci.
Nothing.
Okay, no reason to go into executive session. Looking for motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second by trustee O'Connor, second by trustee Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good job.
Go shut the recording.
This form.